Yeah, man, yippity bob boo bop, yeah. So, this woman loses her vagina on the subway train. That's right, she loses her vagina on the subway train. So, the lady, she goes to the lost and found of the Public Transportation Authority, right? And then she asks the lady working behind the desk, she asks, I seem to have lost my vagina on the subway train. Has anybody turned in a lost vagina? And the public transportation employee working there at the Lost and Found says, I don't know. Does your vagina have any unusual characteristics? And the lady responds, let me see. No, I think it's just an ordinary, everyday vagina. So, the public transportation employee hands the lady a box of lost vaginas. And now, the lady is looking through the box of vaginas to see if any of them are hers. You know, there's all kinds of vaginas that get lost on public transportation, you know, on buses and on the subway trains. So the lady is looking through this box of vaginas when suddenly Al Capone shows up. And Al Capone says, and Al Capone has a big vagina in the middle of his face. So Al Capone shows up, and Al Capone, with a big vagina in the middle of his face, asks, hey, has anybody lost their vagina? I seem to have a vagina in the middle of my face. And the lady turns and looks, and she says, oh my God, that's my vagina. How did my vagina turn up in your face, Mr. Capone? And Mr. Capone answers, man, this plastic surgeon, you know, he messed up and everything, you know, so it's medical malpractice. And so the lady, she asks, well, who's your plastic surgeon, Mr. Capone? And Al Capone says, Richard Pryor is my plastic surgeon. And the lady is like, that doesn't make any sense. Al Capone is dead. And Al Capone says, well, so am I. I'm dead too. So anyway, the lady and Al Capone, they take the escalator up to heaven. And once they reach heaven, they see that Richard Pryor is sitting on God's throne. That's right. Richard Pryor is sitting on God's throne. So Richard Pryor and the lady are like, Richard Pryor, what you doing sitting on God's throne? And Richard Pryor says, hey man, there's been a change of management around here. Hold on a minute, I gotta make some rain. So Richard Pryor pulls out his big black dick and he starts to make rain all over the North American continent. And then Richard Pryor, you know, he sits right back down on his throne. And Richard Pryor says, hey, what you guys want? And the lady and Al Capone are like, Richard Pryor, we got to talk to you about something here. You know, we got this problem. You know, this lady's vagina winds up in the middle of my face. Richard Pryor, this is ridiculous. This is the most absurd plastic surgery that you know has ever happened. And Richard Pryor says, look, man, I sold my plastic surgery business to Melania Trump, you know, the first lady, because, you know, I'm busy up here, you know, being with the new management, being the news management here in heaven and all. So I sold my plastic surgery business to Melania Trump. So, the lady and Al Capone, they go to the plastic surgery business of Melania Trump. And when they get there, they see that Melania Trump is giving Wolf Larsen a blowjob. Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh. So Melania Trump is giving Wolf Larsen a blowjob. Oh. And Al Capone and the lady, they're like, hey, Melania Trump, you know, we understand that you've taken over the plastic surgery business of Richard Pryor. We got to talk to you because Richard Pryor messed up. You know, he got this lady's vagina in the middle of my face, and you know, you got to put this big vagina in the middle of my face back into the, you know, between the legs of the lady. And Melania Trump is like, can't you see I'm busy here giving Wolf Larsen a blowjob? Go sit in the waiting room until I'm done. So, Melania Trump is giving me this blowjob, right? You know, she's like, oh, and I'm about to come, man. I'm about to shoot a big wad into Melania Trump's mouth, you know, and all of a sudden, Melania Trump stops, and she looks up at me, and I'm like, Melania, why you stop? I'm almost finished. And that's when Melania Trump says to me, the time is now 7 o'clock. It's time to wake up. The time is now 7 o'clock. It's time to wake up. And it's my alarm clock. It's my alarm clock telling me to get out of bed. And wouldn't you know it, that's the second time that Melania Trump has given me a blowjob, and she didn't even finish. The end. Hey, man, I got some books here. Besides being a comedian, I'm also an author. I got 30 books on Amazon.com, yippee, including this book, The Symphony of 1,000 Madmen. Okay, and anyway, it's not like notes, it's words. Each instrument in the symphony makes a different obscene or otherwise phrase of poetry. All of the instruments are talking in phrases of poetry. And that's The Symphony of 1,000 Madmen. It's on Amazon.com. Very reasonable prices. And here's the cantos, which is vandalisms of Shakespeare. I take the sonnets of Shakespeare and I improve on them. I vandalize them because I'm better than Shakespeare, okay, when it comes to poetry. And then this is Pussy. Pussy's something you eat, but it's also something you read. So that's all on Amazon.com. Yippee! Okay, bye.